Oh, what it do? Snackers and snackettes and snack X's. It's your boy Gage. Sin is in the building.
What's happening?
Still Sin. Jokes is in the building.
Yo, yo.
Yeah. And we are joined by the one and only very special guest, Keyline Pixie.
Hello,
How are you?
hello. I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. I was really jamming out to the intro music.
That's awesome. Again, it kind of helps us just shake things off before we go
Yeah.
live with all our wonderful people. J. Robert Deans, what's going on? Alfonso, what's going on? How are you both? Good to see you. So check this out. We are absolutely going to talk to Keyline about who she is, what she does, how she does it, why she does it, why she likes it. We're gonna dig into some things. However, before we do that, I have to do this one special thing, and here we go.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
It's the most wonderful time.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling.
Things have gotten more complicated.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most wonderful.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy shit! There are arrows more dangerous than that
Oh, it's just some Christmas.
I'm so hyped. Oh.
Spoiler boys.
Yep, you called it.
For the boys for sure. Okay, listen. Is this gonna be the Christmas movie show?
Hey, she seems like it. I like
Yes.
it. I like the theme.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, Kristen? Listen, Cuddy, here's the thing. Phineas Gage is a long time. That is technically always what it's been. I just don't use the Phineas often. There is a long story for what that is. Phineas Gage is a real person. I'll have to explain it to you later. Right now, we're going to talk about Hawkeye. Joe Colton, what's up? Good to see you. Heather, how
Yes.
are you? Happy Hawkeye days. I love it. Heather, listen, here's what I need to know. Hawkeye said he'd be home for Christmas. I want to know right now, going around the horn, Keyline, will he make it home for Christmas?
Probably not.
Sin, does he make it home for Christmas?
Yes, he does.
Jokes,
I say yes for a split second.
does he die?
No.
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 Sin, not you, Sin. You hesitated?
I did.
Nick Gundy, what's up?
I'm gonna go with no just because of the Christmas theme. I think I don't know, like hitting
You gotta
somebody with
be
that
too
whammy
much.
during the Christmas. Yeah.
Hey, but that'll be the
Okay.
punch to the gut. No Hawkeye.
Hey, look, I mean, I'm all for that, but I don't think he will.
He'll make it home at like 11 p.m.
11
Oh,
p.m.
I'm okay with that. I like that. I do like that. I'm gonna tell you what. This trailer with that song sold me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so in. And here's the thing. I didn't know. I don't think I had any idea what to really expect from this.
Mhm.
But it does look like the action is going to be right. And it looks to me like the comedy is going to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
agree.
don't think I was expecting that.
Yep.
Yeah. Alfonso says he doesn't make it home. Hawkeye won't die, but he
Damn.
won't be back. Okay. I mean, at what point, how many episodes in do we see the new Black Widow? When do we see Yelena Belova show up?
Oh
We didn't see her at all,
no.
Yeah.
but we know what happened. Look, spoilers for Black Widow, but come on, like we know what happened at the end of Black
Right.
Widow. So
It
Right.
let's just be.
I wonder if it's going to be after this show. Well, there's going to be a connection with Shang-Chi, and like I wonder if there's going to be something.
An
That
after credit
happens
type
after.
thing. An after
Yeah.
credit type of thing.
Yeah.
I can see that
mean,
and
do we
lead
know how
into.
How many episodes are this supposed to run for?
I do not know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
You know
Right
what?
now, I'm gonna.
Let me see if I can.
say 6, but you can look it up. Jokes.
Yeah. I'm thinking between 3, but I'm leaning more towards episode 4. It just depends on the episode, how many episodes is going to be in total.
Okay. Cuddy says she shows up at the end of the season. Here's what I want to know. There's one thing I do feel like there's a certain
according to
amount of
Robert,
weight.
you see, according to
8
Dean, she
episodes?
said 8 episodes, and she's listed for all 8.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, I like it. So
Hmm.
she's tailing them or tracking them or trying to find them out or something.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love it.
There's a part of me that feels like this trailer undersells the weight of this show. Like
I
I
agree.
feel like this show is going to be way more important than what it feels like based on this trailer,
Yeah.
and we won't
I'm good with that.
get a
I
glimpse
agree,
of that
'cause
until probably the next trailer.
All of their series has had weight to them so
Sure.
far.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this one obviously is going to have some weight to it. We just don't know what the implications are just yet.
Yeah,
Totally.
I don't feel like it's going to be anywhere near as heavy as Loki was, or have
No.
No.
Yeah.
But right, but
implications that
still,
reach that far. But I also do think it will be very interesting to see where this falls in the timeline. Like
hmm
at what point this is happening,
Right.
because is it happening at the same time as Shang-Chi? No, because it's not Christmas. Is it, right? So like,
You know what?
whose
Who's
Christmas
busy?
is this? You know what I mean? What
Yeah.
year? When is this taking place?
You know what? Let's see if Disney Plus
And if
updated
and
that
if- and
already.
if she is
Good question.
slated to be in all 8 episodes, I mean, obviously,
So it has to be post Black Widow.
well, Black Widow's a prequel
Has-
anyway. So
Yeah. Well,
So-
yeah. Post the end. Credit
yeah,
stuff.
post that end credit scene for sure. But we don't really know exactly when that
How
is. We
far,
don't
yeah.
even know if Yelena
Nope. They
having
haven't
that
put it out there
conversation
yet.
takes place before or after what happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Or Captain America and Winter Soldier, because it could have been before that. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I do feel like in some manner we might see whatever team it seems like is being built that has U.S. agent
hmm
and now a Black Widow.
Yeah, I think we're
we may
seeing some Dark Avengers. It's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what, Heather, you're right. The real question is, when do they actually meet? Like, at what point
Yeah.
do they
Yeah.
actually cross
Good
paths?
question.
And man, if she's dressed like, seems like, and or looks like her sister, what will that do to him?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna mess
Yeah.
with.
That first
Yeah.
interaction between them is going to be one of those points in the show that we're all waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing I think is interesting is that in that post-credit scene, the picture that is shown to Yelena of Hawkeye is him in the Ronin suit.
hmm
And
Oh, yeah.
in this, we're introduced to him finding out who Kate is by her running around
As him.
pretending
As
to be Ronin.
Well, right.
Right.
So the question is Yelena actually tracking her, thinking it's him?
Ooh.
You see what I'm
Could
saying?
be.
That's where
Could
I'm
be.
at. But that's enough about that. You know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna talk about Key Lime Pixie.
Woo.
Okay.
Key Lime.
Yeah.
For all the folks who are in the chat who don't know who you are, which is probably a lot of them,
Yeah.
because they watch us, but they don't necessarily know who you are. Give us the rundown of who you are, what you do, how people find you. Give us
Yeah.
the rundown.
Totally. So I'm Keyline Pixie. And I am a streamer on Twitch primarily. I do a variety of different types of games. I like to do everything from indie games to mainstream games like Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us is my favorite game ever. But I've done Nintendo games. Breath of the Wild is probably second of my favorite game. But currently, I'm kind of doing this very long goal of playing through every Disney game ever.
Whoa!
Wow.
Some games won't play because they're so old. But we've gotten through a bunch of them so far. We did Aladdin, Lion King, those classic Sega Genesis games. Working through Kingdom Hearts right now. But Disney games sometimes are really boring, so we're splitting them up with other games. Like I'm playing through the Mass Effect games right now with a remastered, which I'm obsessed. First playthrough, I'm obsessed.
Really?
Whoa,
Where are you currently in the trilogy?
I finished the first one, so I'm starting the second one. I'm obsessed.
You're in for a ride.
I want to know how evil you're being.
Ooh, actually not too evil. I thought I was going to go that way. Not totally, but mostly.
Okay.
Mostly.
Okay.
But yeah, besides Twitch, I'm also a cosplayer, and that's what I do at conventions. It's actually how I met Loading Snacks. So cosplay, I've got my Patreon that I've just kind of been hitting off for the past 2 months, doing more that way. But I'm a stay-at-home mom besides that. I'm a photographer part-time. I'm also a Disney travel agent, so I'm a bit obsessed with Disney.
Which is awesome.
I do a little bit of everything. I studied musical theater in college, so I'm an actress primarily until I became a wife and a mom, and I was like, I don't really want to be gone 9 hours every day. So
how about that?
So here I am at home doing this, and my fandoms. Here we go. Marvel, DC, Disney.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Trying to think if I can think of anything else. Well, I mean, can Loki be like its own thing? Because I'm kind of obsessed.
If you want it to be its own thing, if it's that big of a deal to you,
I mean, there's different variants, so I mean, there's tons of Lokis now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Tons. But yeah, definitely like Marvel and Disney are my primary, and then it kind of goes from there. But yeah,
I dig it. Everybody who's in the chat, make sure you hit that Linktree link for Keyline and follow her across all of her social medias and Twitch and all of that jazz. We certainly appreciate you joining us. Tonight. We're gonna have some fun, good times. I'm gonna, ask questions like, who's your preference, Mario or Sonic?
You just broke my heart.
Pick one.
Mario.
Okay.
That was like a hurt.
There's nothing wrong with
it. Late
time.
Welcome to the party tie. I finally made it.
That's
Hi,
like
Ty.
that's like an all might. I'm here. Like I feel like he said that with his chest.
It is.
I am here.
I do. You know what? It's starting to get disrespectful, Ty. Like I feel like, you know what I mean? Like class started and you're just walking in the door. I'm here. Like we're in the middle of the lesson. I'm trying to get a little, you know what I mean? Like you might be getting a PS74 going to the office, bro. Because you
said a
you know
PS74.
You need to write up, bro. You need to write up, Ty. But welcome anyway. Okay, Keyline, we're gonna go back. We're gonna take you off the spot a little bit and move our squares around. Sweet. Hollywood squares, y'all. So yes, thank you for joining us again. Everybody, make sure you go and you follow Keyline. You were supposed to mention someone for us.
Oh yes, I also have my husband. And his name on YouTube is Laughing Raptor. Like literally, think of a velociraptor, but it's cackling. And he does a lot of like retro gaming. He's starting to like stream it. So I should have gotten his YouTube link, but Laughing Raptor Gaming, it should come up. He's on TikTok as well and Instagram and all that. So
that's cool. If you grab it and you drop it in a private chat, we'll make sure we get in there. Listen, Ty, the 15-minute grace period is for college, sir, not for high school. And you, sir, I'm gonna put you in like 11th grade right now. That's how I feel.
Really, J. Robert? That's Beast. What? Really? Really?
Listen. Let me start by saying Key Lime, you're automatically one of our favorites because you didn't mention Beast Wars as one of your fandoms. That
Round of applause for that. Round of applause
Hey,
for that.
that's fine. Y'all,
we
y'all
don't.
can rip on Beast Wars all you want. But
Oh,
with
I
the
also
last
like
Transformer
Pokemon.
show,
That
no.
left was great.
Pokemon,
I
listen,
love
and
Pokemon.
I listen. I know you like Pokemon, which is again also one of Jokes' fandom. So we'll give you Pokemon. We're not giving up Beast Wars. That's not what it is. You guys make sure you hit that YouTube link there. That will take you to Laughing Raptor. Make sure you go there and you subscribe. You know, find a couple videos. Make sure you like, share them out. You know what you see and what you like. Okay. Let me tell you what's next on the docket. We're gonna talk a little bit about Shang-Chi. Since we did just kind of bring him up while we were talking about Hawkeye. Shang-Chi has cleared $250 million globally at the box office.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And like 145.6 million domestically.
I'm going to
Jokes,
answer.
did you buy any of those Pokemon Oreos yet?
I haven't been able to get my hands on them yet.
Can't find them.
Yeah.
Can't find them. We're working on it.
So, yeah.
We're working on it. Here's what's interesting. Shang-Chi is still currently behind Black Widow.
Yeah.
Domestically, in terms of box office dollars, domestically. I find that, listen, your face, Sin, is exactly what I was thinking when I came across that, because it doesn't seem like that. Listen, there is no doubt in my mind. So it's at 145.6 million domestically. Black Widow cleared 182. There's no doubt in my mind Shang-Chi will pass Black Widow.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. But on the strength of what is happening with Shang-Chi, we also got an announcement from Disney that all of the rest of their slate for the remainder of this year will come to theaters. And we have had this discussion so many times on this show about theaters versus streaming at home and like what HBO Max is doing and Disney Plus and all of that, right? They announced that the remaining slate they have for 2021 will be exclusive to theaters. 45-day window for most of them. So I'm going to run it down for you. That includes Eternals, The Last Duel, West Side Story, which looks like it might be really good.
I'm so excited.
It looks like it might be really good. West Side Story, Ron's Gone Wrong. I don't know what that is. And The King's Man, which for some reason I didn't put Disney together with that.
Yeah.
I knew
Right.
that,
That's all.
until I saw that in that list. Yeah, I hadn't put that together. So all of those will have a 45-day window before they go digital. And then there's one film, a musical animated, Encanto, which has a 30-day window. And there are a couple things I find interesting about this. The first is that Kevin Feige, in Feige we trust, right? So
100.
Yes.
So Kevin Feige has been pushing for this technically since day one. And I think that after what happened with Black Widow, he went in somebody's office and was like, look at here.
Look,
Yep.
don't you even think about it again.
Yep.
You better get this right? And look, outside of Eternals, I'm not sure what any of the rest of these are going to do in terms of actual box office numbers.
Right.
Eternals is the
nothing
only...
what they want.
No, the King's Man, maybe. There's potential, I think, in West Side Story. I mean, Steven Spielberg is doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's potential, but not Shang-Chi or Eternals potential.
No, it doesn't have that Marvel name on it. Yeah.
No. So I find that super interesting. Do we think that, and we'll go around the horn, but do we think that this lawsuit from Scarlett Johansson had anything to do with this decision? I'll start with you, Sam.
Yeah,
I would think
I think
so.
it. Yeah, I think it made them. I think it made them have to go back to the drawing board and look at everything that's going on, and they had to figure out something to appease everybody across all sides. So the 45-day window might have been the best option they came up with, but at least we're still getting it at home faster than we have gotten it pre everything. And if you're cool to go to the movies, you still have that option if you want, or just wait the 45 days. I think might be the best compromise all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a month and a half, right? And typically those it's a 90-day waiting period, so it's a 3-month period. We're talking a month and a half. That's really not that bad when you think about it. J. Robert Dean's Kingsman is Fox, but Disney owns them, so that's where that came from. Then they bought all those properties, so they have that. Late Ty said he's willing to wait 45 days. I bet, Late Ty, because you're not going to be on time to see it anyway. Why would you be willing to wait 45 days? You're going to be late regardless. Cuddy says, worst state of COVID, which affects the amount of people willing to go out, despite Widow having the option to Disney+. Yeah, look, I mean, there is something to be said for how Disney chooses to approach this. Because what we don't know right now is if that means that for 45 days in the theater, and then for another 45 days, you'll be able to pay for it early on Disney+, so they can still grab that $30 from you. And then after that, it can go to all the rest of the streaming services, or maybe they'll open it up for people to buy, right? But it certainly could be that that's what they do. We just don't, you know what I mean? We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, there are people who will clearly be willing to wait for Eternals, but when you look at the timeline, Eternals comes out like November 6th. So we're talking about it hitting home like literally the week Spider-Man comes out in the theater, which is crazy. But it might be super important because we don't know how those movies might be tied together.
Yep.
That might be where that 45-day window is coming from.
Yeah.
Right? J. Robert Dean says, I'm going to wait for all of them. Major extenuating circumstance keep us out of gatherings until after next week, but we haven't missed it. We'll wait. And you know what? Here's the thing. I think realistically, there are always extenuating circumstances for some people.
Yeah.
Right. There are extenuating circumstances for a lot more people right now. Right. And that is not to take anything away from the extenuating circumstances that you're in, J. Robert Deans. We know, we love you and we're with you through all of what's happening with you. But you're right. For Ty, that's only 30 days because he won't even know he missed 15. Power positivity. I wasn't ignoring you. We were talking and I missed you. But hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, JJ.
Alfonso said he's going to wait on all of them too. Yeah, I mean, look, I also think it depends on where you live, right?
True.
Is there, Keelan, did you go to the theater to see Shang-Chi?
I actually have not seen it yet. I pretty much know everything that happens because I don't care about spoilers. My husband's like waiting. He's like, I don't know anything. Blinders.
Don't talk to me.
But I sit there on TikTok and watch theories all day long. So,
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I will go see it in theaters. I think it's worth it. And I think especially like supporting the Asian Americans and the Asians that are like actors that are in it. That's important to me. Yeah. So that gives them that extra, I mean, my $15 ticket, but it's an extra thing. So
I mean, I listen, I totally agree. Ty says they need to find a way to give the actors a cut of the digital release money and all this theater exclusivity goes away. I mean, here's the thing. I don't, again, we don't know exactly how their contracts are written.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they don't get any of it. We just know that usually their contracts are written so that the majority of their money comes from what is pulled in from the box office. And then they get residuals of some sort beyond that. Some of that's going to have to do with whatever contract they write up. Some of that's going to have to do with, being members of SAG-AFTRA or not. All of that kind of stuff certainly does play into those roles. Look, every now and again, there's a residual check that rolls in here from my daughter from stuff that she did when she was 8 or 12 or whatever, right? And I kid you not, sometimes they roll in like somebody cuts an actual check that says $0.00 on it. Why are you doing that? Why is that a thing? It's a thing, right? Like the industry and acting and contracts and all that is very weird. there's a lot to it, right? What kind of cuts agents take, 10% versus 20%, depending on what kind of job it is, and all of that kind of stuff is, it's behind the scenes stuff that we as folks who generally just get in front of a screen and either enjoy it or don't, or pick or don't. We're not really privy to a lot of that. And the internet has changed a lot of, where we sit with that kind of information. Nick Gundy Experience says, me neither, but I'm more open about Marvel and DC spoilers than Star Wars spoilers.
Oh, Star Wars.
Listen, I'm here's the thing. I think I've learned, I think I've gotten to the point where I worry about spoilers because I usually see the things I actually want to see right away. Yeah, that's where it is. Now, Sin specifically is the spoiler avoidance king.
Master, king, whatever you want to call it.
I do not do spoilers whatsoever. I hate it.
Can you imagine having to do a show like this every week and still managing to avoid spoilers? Like,
that's
it's
talent.
excruciating for us when we're trying not to spoil something for him. And I've gotten to the point where, hey, Slim, if it happens,
it happens. Like, dude, you holding out until the whole series is over? Like, no.
It's an oof.
Hey, I've gotten the hang of it. What can I say after all these years? And if I know if it's something we're going to talk about, I'll do my best to watch it so I can talk about it here. Yeah,
sure. J. Robert Dean said, "Yeah, we would love to show support for the community like we did with Black Panther, but we get it."
Thank you for that, Robert.
No, but the thing is, but Sin does it to himself.
No, but you are a spoiler boy, sir. You are a spoiler boy.
What was the last thing I ruined? I
don't know, because you ruined everything.
No, I don't. See, exactly. What was the last thing I ruined? You can't even think about it.
I you know what? I probably could tell you what it was, but realistically, it was probably something I don't care about. So it was the only reason why it mattered to me was because it was funny because you ruined it for him.
You know what Jones does? He does the. I'm only gonna say one thing. He's not, but I'm not gonna spoil it. He does that all the time.
Yeah, you can't say one thing without giving you the entire run-up synopsis to why that one thing is important.
Or do anything with Sin.
Yeah,
we can't even talk about anime when they come out because he just has to wait until the whole season is over.
Right. Doctor Who, you can't watch large portions of our shows because of spoilers. I'm gonna need you to catch up. Listen, we do this show every week. You know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate your support. Love you too. But I'm gonna need you to get on that page with us. Very savage. J. Robert Deans, he could not have. You can't really spoil Beast Wars because we don't care about it.
And plus, Beast Wars is ancient at this point now, so if you don't notice, and I don't think that even qualifies for spoilers.
I just don't care about Beast Wars. Look, here's circling back. Because let me tell you something about the rails on this show, Keyline. They don't really.
Sometimes they just.
I love it.
The rails.
I love it.
This is not. So yeah, circling back around. Jokes. Do you think that the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit has anything to do with them?
I definitely think so. Like, clearly, like, just like you said, we don't know specifically like all contracts and everything right now, but clearly it works somehow because, like, look at Jungle Cruise. That hit both ways, and don't get me wrong, like, it's The Rock, so you definitely don't want to burn a bridge with The Rock. But it's like clearly there was clearly somehow they were managed to do it, and I'm sure have him get some of the split of what went to Disney Plus versus what was in the theater. So I can imagine that there is a way to do it with putting it on both platforms and making sure everyone can be happy. Like I'm totally for theaters. Like I know people's jobs, that's what they do for a living. So I don't want to take that from them. Like I get it, but at the same time, during this landscape, I think being able to tell someone, hey, guess what? You can pay your $30 and you can watch it at home. Like,
I mean, I do think it is important, for businesses to find not only the best way to take care of their customers, but also to stay in business, right? And realistically, Disney doesn't really owe it to theater chains to try to keep them in business.
Right.
Theater chains owe it to themselves to find ways to keep it in business. And like, if your business model is based on somebody else doing something for you, it's probably not the best way to run your business, right?
Totally.
Because if at any given time, it's in the same way that Disney takes a larger cut of ticket sales than almost every other production house because they're Disney and they know people are going to come see it. So like, you're not going to deny Disney. They can basically strong arm you and say, if you want our movie to play in your theater, you're going to give us more money. That's just how it works, right? So again, the landscape is changing, and this is very reminiscent of what happened when we made the transition out of VHS to DVD, and then DVD became so viable that like they started to find ways to take old television archives and put those shows on DVDs, and people were buying them left and right. Like they were selling out of seasons, and it became a new thing to take a new show. And as soon as the season was over, here's the announcement. This is when you can buy the entire season on DVD and go back and watch it. Right. Again, this is something that happened when DVR became a thing, right? Like TiVo was being sued left and right, and people were all up in arms because they weren't able to make money off of the commercials that were there, and people are skipping commercials. And what does that do to ads and how these companies make money when they're showing you TVs? These kinds of things consistently happen as technology changes. And this is one of those things, right? It isn't COVID being what it is. The fact that streaming services are where they are is just a part of technology making its run, realistically, right? And so there was going to come a point in time where actors were going to have to sit down with whomever they were doing contracts with and renegotiate how they get paid for their work. That's just what it is. It's the same thing. There were people who did shows in the 80s who had no idea that DVD would ever even be a format and that there would ever even be a way to purchase work that they did 20 years later, right? And so they don't have contracts that are written to take care of them that way. We deal with it in video games all the time. It took forever to get a Tony Hawk remaster because they got to do those licenses to get all that music. And those contracts aren't written with the idea of, oh, they'll do a remaster in 15 years and we'll have to pay all those artists again. That's just not how it works. J. Robert Dean said DJ is savvy enough to ask for streaming revenue in his contract up front. Again, that's the kind of thing that you do. Also, he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood. So you kind of get a little extra. As much as, you know, we give Scarlett Johansson for being Black Widow, she ain't even close to being paid the way Dwayne Johnson is. She doesn't have that kind of pull. And she doesn't move. She doesn't put butts in seats.
Right.
You pick a Scarlett Johansson. Tell me what Scarlett Johansson movie. So just give me one. It doesn't exist.
Ghost in the Shell. That did nothing.
I was
trying to Ghost in the Shell.
No.
We knew that was going to be a rip from the beginning. Once they announced that she was out, we was like, oh.
Yeah.
And again, you're right, Cuddy, that Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins, she has a lot of pull in Hollywood anyway. But, you know, her having some pull with Disney is a big deal. Jim Rose Volume 1 says, I do enjoy going to theaters. However, it is nice to be able to watch a new movie in the comfort of my own home. But I refuse to pay the premium price on Disney Plus. I'll go to the theater if I'm going to pay that price. Listen, and let me tell you something. I don't know if you have kids or not, but I'm gonna assume you don't. Because $30 to sit down at home and pay Disney to watch it with your family versus paying $15 a head when you're paying for 4 and 5 tickets at a pop, which is what I generally do. Way cheaper. It's $100
$5 pizza from Domino's and not pay that concession price.
And you don't gotta load them in the car and make sure they're not crying. And
me? Are you kidding me? Yeah,
right.
It's and let me listen. This is a pure parental, like, you know, if you go to the movie with your friends, when they have to go to the bathroom, that's your fault if you miss what's happening. If you got kids that go to
you gotta take your kid to the bathroom.
They have to go to the bathroom, you have to miss what they miss because you gotta take them to them. That's not cool.
Fun.
This is not cool. Jim Rose says now, if certain movies come back to theaters, like Avatar, Lord of the Rings, OG Star Wars, etc., I'll go back to the theaters for experience again.
Oh no,
and I agree with that. I think that there are movies that are totally worth the theater experience. So on that note, Key Lime, what's a movie that if they said tomorrow they were going to put it back in the theater, no matter what, you would go to the theater to see it?
That is such a good question.
Thanks.
I'd say probably the first Iron Man movie, because I saw it on DVD for the first time in my friend's house. Like I never got to see any of the original Phase 1 Marvel movies in theaters. I would love to see Iron Man in a movie theater. But besides that, I always give two answers. I can't ever pick just one thing. Maybe the 1980s
He's gonna say that.
David Bowie Labyrinth.
Whoa! Oh,
I love
Dance,
that movie.
I just had a whole conversation.
Dance, magic dance. So because you said that, now I need to know if you are aware of the Labyrinth ball that they do in New York every year.
I'm sorry, what?
No. It just happened while we were at the convention at AwesomeCon. It's either during that or it's during Otakon. They literally in New York every year. Just go ahead and do a quick search. There is a Labyrinth ball that they do every year.
We didn't know nothing about it. We were like, wait, why do we know about this?
I was like, hold on. This has to be a thing we have to do.
Oh, I have to go. What the heck?
See?
I'm booking the hotel right now.
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
Jim Rose says, with that argument, I'll just wait till it's off the premium, and premium release thing is stupid. And listen, I don't have any beef with that. Because again, I totally understand. It's going to be premium for a while, and then they're going to let you have it. And if you can wait, that's cool. I'm an early adopter by nature.
Same here.
I cannot help myself. I want to be in the know. I love water cooler talk. You know what I mean? And for certain things, I have FOMO. I don't want to miss out.
Yep.
So I'm gonna make the adjustments I need to make because I really want to see it. Now, if they told me that Shang-Chi was available at home and it wasn't in a theater, I probably would not have gone to the theater to see it the first time. But as much as I enjoyed it, I probably would have made a trip to the theater.
Still made
it.
Yeah.
Right? They would have got me twice, which, they'll probably get me again. I'm actually kind of planning another trip for Thursday. So maybe that's a thing. J. Robert Deans, I got a teenager. It's 30 for mozzarella sticks and popcorn along the movies. Disney Plus is a steal. Again,
the facts.
Again,
make your own mozzarella sticks.
Being a mom with a toddler, I always have a backpack full of snacks. So
which is totally
and they
fair.
never check my backpack, so I'm like, okay.
Oh no, they're not gonna do that. Oh no.
Of course they don't.
Sneak them in.
And I mean, look, here's the thing. I think that what's happening in a lot of cases is, again, like you can see in the chat, but like we're seeing in the real world, everybody has different circumstances. And so if you're a company like Disney, or if you're HBO Max, and you're doing their slate of movies, which they have decided that everything coming out through like the first half of 2022 is all going to HBO Max, but they're not charging you an additional premium to get it, right? So you can just watch it if you want to. They are trying to find ways to take care of customers who don't mind going to the theater. But there are people who not only mind going, but can't go to the theater or don't want to spend the additional money. And so, again, I think it's important for companies to try to find avenues to take care of all of their people and not leave anybody out. I think it's good business, right?
Yeah.
Hard to do, but it's good business. And it means you're going to ruffle some feathers, right? We've had a lot of discussions about whether or not movie theaters are going to survive this entire thing. And we'll see. What do we decide? Amazon's going to buy all the theaters?
That's what we
automate them and turn half the theater into warehouse space. You'll be able to go to the theater with your Amazon Prime subscription and just be like, "Yep, I want to see this movie," and pick up your package. Like that's what what it'll be.
Sounds clean to me.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. J. Robert Dean said, "Well, we pack snacks too, but buy the sticks and the popcorn anyway because teenager." I mean, that's listen. I am like, I don't have any teenagers currently, which is an amazing thing currently, but I will. Like, I got out of it, and now I'm about to go right back into it. Wish me luck. All All right, so check it out. We're going through the middle of the show, rigmarole. We're going to switch gears a little bit. So here's what's going to happen. Jokes.
Yes, sir.
You have a job to do. Wouldn't that be dope? Jim Rose, if you could just use your Amazon Prime to go to the theaters. So check it out. If you are hanging out in the chat with us, and as you can see, when you look at the chat, there are people on YouTube and people on Twitch, and there are people on Twitter and people on Facebook. By all means, make sure you hit the link tree link for us there, and you can follow us across the board everywhere we are. But also, many of the folks that you see in the chat also have their own YouTube channels or Twitch pages and so forth. Please follow each other. Go and support each other. One of the things we're really trying to do here is build a community and continue to do that and support one another. J. Robert Dean was the last comment there. That man is an awesome author, makes great children's books. Make sure you go check him out. He also has a Patreon. So again, go and check him out and support him. He also has a TikTok that we talked him into.
Yep. Talking down that rabbit hole.
And now he posts way more than we do. I'm proud of you, J. Robert Dean. I'm proud of you. Look, I see Jim Rose on Twitch.
Yeah, Jim Rose, she does Destiny stuff, she does Sea of Thieves, she's got some cool stuff. Nick Gundy experience, musician, and is fabulous. Great musician.
That's what we want to know. Again, let's go follow each other. Let's make sure we support each other and so forth. Greatly appreciate that. Sin, you have a job to do, if you would please.
Sure. So let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorch, and Late Ty, also known as Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Late Ty. We love all y'all. Appreciate your support. Listen, y'all get used to that happening in the middle of the show. We'll do it again at the end. But again, we just want to make sure you guys don't miss out on the opportunity to follow each other, follow us, and so forth. Again, community support, big deal. Also, we have new merch.
Ooh.
And Sin is very excited. So we have a new variation on our Loading Snacks kanji shirt.
Ooh.
That now has we decided that the kanji should have subtitles. So this is our new subtitled merch. So we'll make sure, again, if you go to our link tree, you can hit our merch site and check out the new merch that's there. We would greatly appreciate if you do that. There's other stuff besides that there too, but feel free to go and check that out. Hey, listen, Cuddy, we are not iPhone people.
So,
you know that,
sir. Calm that down.
Hey,
did you say Beast Wars?
Calm that down.
Relax,
yes, I said Beast Wars iPhone. Yes.
Hey, listen, that iPhone 13, right?
We don't care about the iPhone.
I didn't have a chance to check it out.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be ridiculous.
I am positive that it will be.
Like literally, it's gonna have a cinematic lens on it. Like you can film movies on it now.
And listen, that's a big deal. Look, you got me hot now. I had to take the jacket off. Cuddy. Not a bad curveball though. Okay, so not only do we have merch, but I want y'all to remember that right now for the Loading Snacks Movie Club, the movie of the month is Dread. Not the old Dread.
Not the old Dread.
Not that one. Not that one. The newer one from like 2012. That is currently our movie of the month. So if you are not already, if you would like to join the Loading Snacks Movie Club, all you have to do, again, the link is in the link tree. It's on Facebook. It is a private group because we want to keep it just to that. But basically, the movie club is where we pick a movie every month. Everybody goes and watches it, and then we do a discussion, an in-depth discussion where we talk, characters and how we feel about them and setting, and get into cinematics and music and all of that kind of stuff, like a book club, but movies. So Loading Stacks Movie Club, Dread is the movie of the month currently, and you guys keep your eyes peeled for some fun polls and stuff that'll be coming up over the next couple of days for that. Now, on top of that, it's
that time.
Almost Extra Life time. So Extra Life is coming up in early November, and the team is live now. If you are interested in joining the Loading Snacks team for Extra Life, which is a charity that specifically collects money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So we play every year. We do a 24-hour stream just playing video games. 24 hours straight through. You can certainly join the team. Join your team. You can post to Facebook or wherever you go. People can send money, donations. The donations are completely tax deductible. But we've been doing it for a few years, and we've collected several $1,000s that have gone to Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So we're really excited about doing it again this year. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing this year? If you hit, is it
I don't
$500?
know. What did we come to that one just yet? I don't remember.
All right, so you shaved last year.
I did the shaving. Yeah, I did that.
I shaved the year before that.
Yep.
Sin got stuck having to play Phasmophobia.
Don't remind me.
By himself.
Please
Sorry,
don't
sir,
remind
but
me.
it was for the kids.
Listen, J. Robert Deans, that is perfectly okay. Again, look, I
also
personally play
year,
for Children's Hospital in DC. I do have a personal reason for doing that, but you can play for any hospital specifically that is a Children's Miracle Network hospital, or you can play for the charity as a whole if you want. So again, if you're interested in joining the team, being a part of that, Jokes, can you put that link up for people to grab really quickly?
Yeah, I'll put the one directly for it instead of the.
Yeah, that'll make it a little easier. And you can jump in and just say you want to join the team. And again, we'll hit the ground running. It is November 6th?
6th or 7th, if I'm right.
Don't make me lie.
Let me look. It's
but it is usually
6th.
Yeah, first weekend in November. It also generally falls
daylight saving.
On daylight saving. So even though it's 24 hours, there's an extra hour in there. We actually usually go for 25. Now, you don't have to play or join us for all 24. You don't even have to specifically join in and play with us. You can play for our team, do your own stream, take your own donations. They still go to Children's Miracle Network Hospital. You're just basically, it just means that the pot that you're pulling in would go under the Loading Snacks name. But still, as a whole, really, really great charity. We always have a blast. It gets really silly and really stupid as the hours go on.
Very true.
For sure. Jokes, are you eating any Pocky chips this year?
I don't know. I think after round 2, I don't know.
You done now, huh? You had enough?
I don't know. They're sold. So you know what? I actually thought about it, and I went on Amazon, but they actually sold out of them. So if another round comes, I may get it just in case. But I don't know. First time I did it, maybe I don't know. Maybe like we were talking that versus thing. Maybe I need to have Coop hop in because definitely last year. The all black Pocky chip kicked my ass when we was playing Gears of War, and then it put me down. Well, actually, 2 years ago, and then it put me down,
and it was funny. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna just jump out there right now and say no Among Us this year, but maybe I just know that Jokes did it.
We know.
It'll be on.
We'll make sure to remember to give you a shout out for your anniversary that day. Get the mac and cheese ice cream. I'm down.
I'm down with that.
I'll get the mac and cheese ice cream. I'm down. I'll do it. If I tell you what, if as we get it, as soon as I hit 500, I'll eat that. I mean, I'll eat a spoonful. I'm not gonna promise you right now. I'll do more than that, but I'll do it. That's cool. We were definitely zombies at one point. It's tough. Like it's hard to do.
It is.
24 hours is a long time to stare at a screen. As Keyline can probably tell you because she did her own really long stream for her birthday last week. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to know that went well.
Yeah.
For you. That's really cool. I would consider doing a stream for my birthday, but my birthday is basically the same time as Extra Life, and that's about all the stream you're gonna get out of me during that time. That is what there is for that. Okay, so Nick Gunny Experience said it was a fun stream. I believe it. What I was able to tune in for was absolutely fun. Definitely a good time. I watched you do an Irish accent.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah.
for quite some time. Heather, you had bacon, egg, and cheese ice cream once?
Oh,
Bacon, egg, and
Disgusting.
cheese
One?
ice cream. Was it
I
all?
need proof.
Was it all together? Yeah, it was all together. Did you have to like mix that? Like
Yeah. Did you have
please
bacon,
tell me they
ice
don't just
cream?
have egg
Like
ice
it was
cream.
Cold Stone. Like you had the ice cream, then you
Right,
just put
like
the
you
bacon
just-
and the
yeah.
eggs in it, and just stir it all up together.
Oh man.
Exactly.
Hey, so look, I want to talk relatively briefly about this Epic versus Apple lawsuit sort of coming to a close. Again, we have talked at length about Epic and Apple and what Apple charges. Not to sully the name of Apple during their wonderful iPhone 13 day. However, it's very interesting because if you look into this, there are articles that say Epic won this lawsuit, and there are articles that say Apple won this lawsuit. It's very tricky. Technically, I would say Apple won this lawsuit. On paper, Apple won this lawsuit. What kind? Altogether, it was a Bodega Boys and Oddfellows ice cream. Listen, Heather, send me a link.
yeah, do that. That will
Send me a link. I would like to try to get some Mercer's wine ice cream this year. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but Mercer's wine ice cream, real thing, 5% alcohol. I think we should give it a run this year.
That sounds so good.
Oh, I'll do that. I've had bourbon ice cream, so that's pretty good.
Kraft mac and cheese ice cream.
I need to know where to get that.
It is Kraft mac and cheese ice cream. That's a real thing. So here's what happened. Just to kind of recap quickly. Epic was upset with Apple because Apple would only allow you to purchase stuff for their game, biggest game in the world, Fortnite, through Apple's App Store. Like if you wanted to get V-Bucks or whatever, so you could spend money on things in the game. And Apple takes a 30% cut of all of those transactions. And Epic wasn't happy with that. They did ask for them to look at making a change to it. They refused to do it. And so Epic decided to bypass them and create their own store where people could go and buy stuff, not only buy it directly from Epic, but do it at a discount. And Apple retaliated by removing Fortnite from the App Store, which totally within their rights to do, because that's what the contract says they could do. And then a major suit followed between the two of them, two big tech giants having a battle, you know what I mean, for supremacy. And we learned a lot about things that are happening in the industry and the way that they work while all of that was going down. Here's basically what it came down to. So the judge issued an injunction that said Apple will no longer be allowed to prohibit developers from providing links or other communications that direct users away from Apple in-app purchasing. So technically, that is what Epic was there for. Sort of. Again, it started because they wanted them to reduce the amount of money they charge. And just another refresher. During this lawsuit, Microsoft got called in for Xbox and Sony got called in for PlayStation, and they pulled all kinds of records and receipts and what have you. And, you know, essentially the 70-30 split for whomever the store provider is pretty much industry standard. Microsoft does it. Sony does it. Apple does it. Google does it, like Android. So everybody pretty much does that. Part of the argument that was made was that for companies like Sony and Microsoft, there's that link. Oh yeah. Hey, Jokes, grab that link.
Already attempting to grab as we speak.
That Microsoft and Sony, while they do charge that same thing, the difference for them is that they sell their hardware at a loss, and that 70-30 split is a way for them to recoup the losses that they have by selling the hardware at a loss, where Apple doesn't take a loss on any of their hardware. iPhones are $1,200. They don't cost $1,200, y'all. They're $1,200. You might pay for it over time, but you pay the full price, and they make money on everything that they everything that they sell, from their laptops to you name it. They make money on it. So part of the argument was that they don't actually need that same 70-30 split. essentially everything else that Epic brought against Apple, as far as them being a monopoly and so forth, Apple won all of that. And Epic has to pay them several millions of dollars because of it. Now, at this point, Epic is going to appeal. They're appealing, right? But technically they get what they want, right? And we'll see how this plays out. I kind of want to get some of your opinions on this and where you think this will go. So, first of all, technically, Apple does not have to allow Fortnite back on the App Store. That's just, it is what it is, okay? And though Apple is no longer allowed to prevent someone who's on the App Store from providing a link for them to get money outside, they can just remove them from the App Store.
Yeah.
So even though technically Epic did win that portion of it, do you think anybody else who puts their games or their apps on the App Store will do a separate link to get money outside of Apple? Will anybody risk it? Key Lime, I want to hear from you first.
I mean, the whole thing is just a hot mess. But like, I don't know. I kind of agree with Epic where I kind of feel like it is a monopoly in some way, but I guess the problem is that they have to show that there's like competition with other places and compare prices, and they can't really do that because Apple's the only one really doing it. So right. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna appeal. They still have their Google lawsuit that's gonna come out too. So I'm interested just to see kind of how this plays out. It could go. I feel like it could go either way at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. J. Robert Dean says, this is interesting to me as a self-publisher who has to price my work higher because of Amazon. I mean, and I totally get that, right? Yeah. I mean, if you are, a lot of the apps that you find in the App Store are created by independent developers, right? And so they would have to push up what they sell for in order to hit what their revenue, you know, what they want to hit. Having an option that allows you to do almost everything, almost every app in existence, even if it's free, when you download it, has a little asterisk that says also includes in-app purchases. The question is whether or not those in-app purchases will continue to be something that they can provide for you with a separate link that allows them to reap the full monetary value of those in-app purchases, or whether or not they will continue to do it through Apple. And if there is a landslide of apps that go, not doing that anymore, I'm making a link and I'm going to take all this money myself. If Apple just starts to strike people from the list, okay, you're out, right? Sin, where do you think this goes?
I think people will start making their own links. I think it'll be interesting how it turns out. Like you said, is Apple going to be a bunch of assholes and start pulling everybody? You know what I mean? Who does that? Or, you know, will they figure a way to work together in the future about it or something like that? But I do think for a fact that people will start making their own links to start recouping some of the money, you know, from all the hard work they put in, all that kind of stuff. I think they absolutely will. I'm interested to see how it turns out, but I think for sure people are going to start doing it.
Yeah.
J. Robert Dean says Amazon's demands on the publishing industry means I make almost nothing per sale unless I overprice my work. And again, it's that same kind of business, right? And Amazon has a pretty solid lock, you know what I mean, on what they do and where they sell. Cuddy, we don't want to talk about the iPhone.
He keeps trying to throw that in there.
Jokes, what do you think? Where do you think this lands? If you were a developer, let's create a scenario here. If you created an app, let's say you created how to track down, you know, Gundam kits, Gunpla, right? An app, and it's a free app, but you have something in there. There's some sort of an in-app purchase that does something. Maybe it allows you an overlay so you can see what one will look like when it's done, or different paint jobs or something like that. Like, I don't know, but do you think that you personally would create a way for people to pay you directly for that? Or would you just do it through Apple and allow them to take a cut.
Nah, 100% would try to create my own way. I definitely think it's something, especially the other companies, going to jump out there and try it. Because I mean, initially, I feel like they're not just going to. Granted, I know the contract will never. I don't. They're not going to initially kick you and say, "No, you can't do that." You know, they'll probably give you that fair cease and desist type of thing than anything else. So I think it's fair game to actually go ahead and give it a shot. But one, if I can make more money for myself, I'm all about doing it. Because one, for my consumer, it's going to start, because just like Jay Roberts said, it's going to start to cut down on some of those costs when I can just have you go directly through me versus the third party. Now, what I want to keep it still where you can do it through Apple, I think I want to have it both ways, because obviously there's some people that in the heat of the moment, they want to just go in and buy something. They got their iTunes or their iCloud account already synced up. They can just charge their card immediately or do whatever. I want that in there still. But at the same time, I know I'll have those supporters there. But you know what? I'm coming directly to the source. I'm going to buy it directly from you because I know you're going to get a little bit more ad or a little bit more revenue or whatever it will be for it. So I'm going to be having it going both ways. But I primarily would like to have it just going directly to me.
I mean, I think
as someone who like for Twitch, for example, Twitch is so frustrating with their subs and everything. But like on a phone, it's $1 more expensive, and you have to do sub tokens versus subbing like subscription basis. And I'm like, it's just really annoying. Like I want it to be consistent between the computer app and the phone app. So I'm hoping things like that will get resolved because it's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, that's what you're talking about, jokes, is exactly why what Epic did was they created a separate link, but they know that people already have their account tied. It's easier to just do it directly to the phone because you're already there, but that's why they were giving you a discount. Like you were saving 10% when you did it directly through them, which still gave them more money because Apple's taking 30%.
30 of it.
Right. So if you were going to do something like that and you're like, yeah, I would rather have it both ways, you're going to advertise, hey, you can buy it here and save 10%. You know what I mean? On your purchase. And that is the thing that would draw people away from doing it.
Definitely.
That easier way, right? Like that's the whole point of that. I find it interesting. I think here's where I'm at. I think in the long run, what we're probably going to see happen is if you're putting a free app on the App Store, there will probably be a much higher charge, right? For you to have your app in this premium place.
Yeah.
Where all of these people are in this ecosystem. If you want your app in our ecosystem for free, especially if you want to have outside links or whatever it is, then we're going to charge you this much upfront to even have it there, right? And then there could be other stipulations that they begin to add on top of that, like you can only have your app here for free for a year, and then you have to charge for it, or something along those lines, right? Because Apple is going to want to find a way to continue to take a cut of all of the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of apps that are there. Again, so many of those applications are completely free outside of ads, outside of, right? And there is a question on whether or not apps that have ads, how that ad revenue, does Apple take a cut of the ad revenue or no, right? Like, how does all that work? So I do think that no matter what, where we are right now will absolutely change the way the business is done. And then in the long haul, it will affect the way that we as consumers are forced to consume and pay for that product. It could end up hurting us as consumers in the long run, right? Making it harder for us or something along those lines. J. Robert Deans, I don't agree with you. He said, don't be surprised if this convinces 10% or more of Apple iPhone folks to switch to Android. I don't think that'll happen because Epic has the same lawsuit basically in place with Google.
Yep.
So chances are it ends up the same way. But I also think that what we're likely to see happen, and mark my words, I think what we're likely to see happen is another subscription service that is specific to certain apps. The same way Apple does Apple Arcade. There are all these arcade games that for $5 a month, you can just play these games. They're just there. It's technically, as much as I love Game Pass, Apple Arcade is the best deal in gaming, technically. For $5 a month, all those games that are there, and they're just there, and
Yeah.
you can just play them, right?
Right.
It is actually probably the best deal. Now, it's not as convenient. You can't play it anywhere. It's not doing all the things that Game Pass is doing with all the way you can play and, like cloud and all that. Still, some really great games there at cheaper than basically any other subscription service is.
Yeah.
What I think this is likely to do is to cause Apple or possibly Google to go into having another subscription service that is, here are these applications that are part of this subscription service.
Yeah.
It will be like, here is think about like a Microsoft Office kind of thing, right? Like here is a productivity subscription suite, right? And if you are subscribed to this, then you have access to these apps for part of it, right? And that is what they'll do. If you're one of those people who has to have an iPhone 13 because you have a cinematic camera and you want to be able to shoot this, that, and the third, all of those apps that get developed for that, there will be a subscription service
to get into it
through Apple that will allow you access to all of these special movie apps and editing apps and all that kind of stuff that you'll pay them $5 a month, and that's how they'll do it.
You can't do another
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say, Robert, you get a subscription and you get a subscription and you get a subscription. If I had to bet money on what this will do to the cell phone industry, that's where my bet is, because everybody knows that subscription services is where the money is currently anyway. Right? So that's what I would wager is going to happen, that we'll start to see subscription services, an additional subscription probably added directly onto your phone bill, right? They'll talk with T-Mobile and AT&T and whatever, and for this additional amount, you'll be able to have access to these apps. And it doesn't matter whether they're supposed to be free apps or not, or whether you can go outside of them to buy additional stuff, because Apple is getting your money every month. If I was Apple, honestly, that's what I would do.
Disgusting, but I can see it. Yeah.
I hate it.
But can you imagine? But imagine for a second, Keyline, right? If Twitch decided that they were going to do some sort of a subscription, right? Where as opposed to maybe directly subscribing to one particular individual person, you could do one sub that was like $10 a month that subbed you to these 20 people, right? You know what I mean? Or something in some way, right? And then people can always go in and you can have your own other stuff. You have your Patreon, you have whatever, you have your ads, you have all that kind of stuff. Imagine if they said that, right? If you would like to subscribe to these podcasts and talk shows, subscribe to this and you're in there. And these are the ones that are included in that, right? It might actually make it easier, whether you're on the phone or you're on the PC. Subscriptions is where it is.
Totally. From a business aspect, it just it makes so much sense.
Right. I mean, listen, you have a Patreon.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon. We ask people to subscribe to us. Like,
exactly.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
Like I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to pretend that that's not a thing. Like, I might be a little upset at how many subscription services I have, and still I come on here every week and I'm like, hey, listen, check us out on Patreon.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, that's where we are these days. I think it'll be super interesting, to say the least. Let's talk about the PlayStation Showcase from last week. Now, we did a live stream, a live reaction to the PlayStation Showcase. Keelan, did you get a chance to check out the showcase?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you got to do that. Because while I don't want to go through every individual game that was shown there, what I would like to do is go around the horn and hear what everybody's favorites from the showcase were, what stood out to you the most. And we have some ideas of probably what we're gonna hear. You know what I mean? So jokes, you first. PlayStation Showcase. What were your favorite titles that you saw at the PlayStation Showcase?
I would say my top two was one. So Wolverine. Obviously, we knew Insomniac was working on Spider-Man 2. Like we knew that was a thing. We knew that was going to be there. So finally seeing it was cool and all. But Wolverine was completely left field.
out of nowhere.
So, so that was I'm really interested. There wasn't Beast Wars there,
There
Jay
was no
Roberts.
Beast Wars.
There's no Transformers or anything. Yeah, so so you won't hear that. And then of course, Knights of the Old Republic remake. I find it pretty funny, you know, that it's being presented on the PlayStation stage. You know, it was originally the Xbox side, but you know what? For this, it's going to be PlayStation. But it looks like it's just going to be at least console exclusive for a little bit. So either way, I'm happy that it's official and that it's actually coming. People have been asking for this for I don't know how many years at this point now. Yeah. But I think for me, those are my top two. Like, of course, like God of War, like the ones that we knew, the games we knew that were coming. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm not excited for them, but when we already know that they were coming, it's like it's cool to see it. But But definitely those two unexpecteds for me were my goal pieces.
So the Nick Gundy experience says my top favorite was the first trailer. They showcased a preview for Knights of the Old Republic remake. I almost bought home a legit Lego Darth. Really, a Darth Revenant minifig 2 weeks ago. And listen, you should have brought that. Why is that an almost? Why is that almost?
That should have been one of those things you just saw. Oh, bag it up. I'm taking it.
You do that. You should have done that for sure. And J. Robert Dean wants to know, wasn't there something about the annual GTA 5 remake? Yeah.
There was.
It just did get pushed to next year. I'm ready to say don't give him any ideas. I won't. I promise not to. But that's what's gonna happen. They're definitely going to those subscription services are gonna be a real thing. Keyline, what stood out to you at the PlayStation showcase and did jokes steal all your ideas?
Oh no, I was like so excited about the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer to see kind of where that story's gonna be, because that's a game that like I will stream it.
Okay.
So I was like, because it's Disney, Marvel, like that sort of connection. Yeah. So it's like I will stream it. So it was kind of fun to get a little bit more of the story. I'm a little confused about where it is in the storyline of like the Marvel universe in general, but it'll be fun when it comes out. But the one I was kind of like shook by was Deathloop. That one, when that came up, I was like, oh, you got my attention. Like that game looks very good.
And it is reviewing very well.
It does kind of make me think of the M. Night Shyamalan old movie a little bit. But I'm excited to see this. So
that game is reviewing like that game is getting tens.
Yeah,
they're calling it Game of the Year right now.
Good. I believe it.
It's in a run of Game of the Year contenders with like Psychonauts 2. Even 12 Minutes is getting some of that. Like there's a lot of games right now that are contending, and it's still early. Like there's still a lot of games coming out this year. Sin, what stood out to you? Wait. Before you answer that. Nick Gundy experience, I just want you to know that is a perfectly legitimate answer to why you didn't, because you brought home a Grand Admiral Thrawn. That is a perfectly legitimate answer for that. Yeah. Sin.
I got to agree with Jokes with the Knights of the Old Republic remake. That been waiting for that for a while, so I was very excited to see that, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. For me, Project Eve, I'm really looking forward to that platinum style, kind of stylish shooter thing. Looked real cool, came in left field. We knew nothing about it, but it has me very interested. And Forspoken, I have been interested in Forspoken since we first laid eyes on it, and to get more of the story and more of some of the abilities she has and just the world and how she traverses and moves around it. I'm so excited for that. I cannot wait for it. But those are the three that stood out the most for me watching the showcase.
So I did some digging into Forspoken because Forspoken was shown before it was named Forspoken.
Mm-hmm.
This was the game that Sony used to show off with Epic Unreal Engine 5. And so it's been under the limelight. I'm going to tell you what. I'm not totally sold on it. It looks good. I'm not totally sold on it, but here's what worked for me. I did some digging. So Gary Whitta, who is a great writer, he did stuff on Walking Dead. He wrote Book of Eli. He wrote Star Wars Rogue One, is writing for this game.
Ooh, okay.
Also, Amy Hennig has her name tied to this too, which is, again, Uncharted fame.
Yep.
Like So right now, I'm like, just give me a little more. Just give me a little bit more of exactly what's happening, and I'd probably be all in. Now, I will say this: it appeared that game was a PlayStation exclusive. Right now, it looks like it's not. It is tied to like a yearly exclusive kind of thing, which is a thing that Sony's doing a lot. So I don't know if y'all heard about this. We talked about this several times. Final Fantasy Remake originally had like a 1 year exclusivity deal. And we've been trying to figure out what's been going on with it finally coming to Xbox and was it coming to Game Pass and all that kind of stuff or whatever. Did y'all know that Sony went back to Square and renegotiated the contract to a 2-year contract? Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I have a lot of bad words I want to use right now.
That's interesting.
This is a thing that Sony has been doing, and so right now it is questionable whether or not or how long the exclusivity for Forspoken is. We know that Deathloop had at least a 1 year, exclusivity, but Deathloop is also a Microsoft game, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out, especially with the kind of reviews and so forth that it's getting now. The fact that you brought up Deathloop, Key Lime, I also find really interesting. Yeah, that's right, Cuddy. The fact that you brought that up, I think Deathloop is super interesting.
Yeah.
Because this showcase was filled, again, with Knights of the Old Republic, originally an Xbox exclusive. Alan Wake, originally an Xbox exclusive. Which, again, it's coming out October 5th and will be on everything. But, again, it's being shown on a PlayStation stage, right? It's their showcase. So you have two games right there that are like, here are two games that used to be exclusive to them that now is not, right?
Right.
We know that PlayStation has a marketing deal with Grand Theft, right? So that marketing deal is still in place. They show that on their stage. They have this deal with Forspoken. They have clearly with Insomniac developing Wolverine and Spider-Man, those are not going to be games that will ever show up on an Xbox platform. That's just not happening. PC, I'm sure. Right, eventually. But they're not ever going to show up on an Xbox platform. And what's funny about that is there's been a lot of rhetoric online about whether or not, like, Xbox needs to get a Marvel game. Like, where's their Marvel game? Or, like, they should go buy DC and just have all the DC games or whatever, right? And, like, I guess we can talk about that. Deathloop I find interesting because, again, it was an exclusive that Sony signed before Microsoft finished the purchase. Of Bethesda and Arcane. What I find more interesting is that because of the financial position that Bethesda or ZeniMax was in at the time, Arcane Studios, the one that made Deathloop, that is getting all this praise now, was actually on the chopping block. That was one of the studios they were going to have to get rid of. Like, they were on the chopping block to get rid of. And it's crazy to think that here's this team that has this game that just hit, like, today. And people are like, this is game of the year. This joint is crazy. I can't stop playing it. People are talking about it on everything. Like, it's an incredible just kind of change in trajectory from like where things could have been. And you have to think about the fact that technically that means that Microsoft swooped in and saved this studio.
Saved the day,
right? And now they can't have the game. they don't have the game. Like, it is super interesting. I think that Forspoken has a lot of potential. I'm not totally sold yet. There was another game called like Tachio, I think it was called. And it was like it had a sort of Breath of the Wild look with like Mario Odyssey mechanics where you can jump into different animals or whatever, which looked really cool and calm and relaxing. And I'm kind of about that life right now. I found that very interesting. But I'm gonna tell you, you already know Spider-Man is the most important thing they showed. For me, that's the one. That's the one. Because Wolverine's not coming out till 2025, 2026. I'm positive. We won't see that.
It'll be a while.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's not like we got gameplay or whatever. But I do think super important to just be like, hey, listen, we just want y'all to know. Here's a little something you're just not going to get anywhere else, which they actually said before they started that run of trailers. Like, you're not going to be able to get these anywhere, which I think is so important to do when right now everybody's like, Microsoft has to bring Starfield to PlayStation. No, they don't.
They don't.
Not going to happen.
They don't.
Here's the other thing that I saw that I feel like was very important about what happened at this showcase. For the last year, ever since that Bethesda acquisition or the announcement of the acquisition, technically it didn't take place until March. It has been pretty obvious that like Xbox and Microsoft have secured themselves the Western RPG.
Yeah.
Right? Between Bethesda and Obsidian and what like it is just they have that on lock, right? And which is important because they are unable to play in the JRPG field that even Nintendo was able to play in with you know with Sony, with PlayStation. This particular showcase, they literally were like, we grabbed one of the greatest Western RPGs of all time in KOTOR. That's how we're opening the show.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about Skyrim. Don't worry about BioWare. We got this. Now, I am going to say that I'm a little concerned because Aspyr, who is making this remake, and I think that's important. This is not a remaster.
Right.
It's a remake. Aspyr has never done this before. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what they actually do with this and how it turns out. People are, as Keyline pointed out earlier, she's playing through the Mass Effect remaster.
Yeah.
BioWare didn't even try to remake their own. Like they went back and were like, they were going to put this out and they realized like Mass Effect 1 needs a serious overhaul. We have to go back and do some other stuff. So even they weren't like, let's just remake it. Nah, right. I would have been so happy if they had done that. So for them to be doing Knights of the Old Republic, again, important. Disney Star Wars franchise. They have two Marvel titles locked up. They have a Star Wars title currently locked up at least for a period of exclusivity. It is a huge Western RPG that is one of the most beloved games of all time, and that's how you open the show.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's making a statement, and that is something that they're doing to say to their fans, I know y'all are worried about these Western RPGs, but we got you. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's so important. Right? But again, I'm a little worried. Aspyr has done a lot of ports, but they've never done a full-on remake. So I'm gonna hold my judgment until I see more.
Understandable.
Get some actual gameplay.
Understandable.
I can jump on my Xbox and I can play Knights of the Old Republic at 60 frames, backwards compatible right now. Yeah, like I don't have to wait for this. So you do have to sell me on this remake. But I think that's a big deal, right? You have, so Western RPG, J. Robert Deeds. It is a lot less anime. Less anime. Most Japanese RPGs are very anime. They tend to be more turn-based, even though they do have action stuff in them. Western RPGs, though, generally speaking, are made by Western video game developers. So companies like BioWare, Bethesda, again, Obsidian, companies that, truthfully, JRPGs are based on Western RPGs, like where they started. Original Final Fantasy and stuff like that are based in like Ultima, which is technically a Western RPG, stuff that came from. No, it's not like the Lone Ranger. It's not that kind of Western. No,
like Western Hemisphere.
Yeah. So there's JRPGs, which basically is a Japanese RPG, and then there are Western RPGs that they don't call WRPGs. I just guess because W's got too many syllables in it for one letter, and so we just don't. There are what they call CRPGs, which are computer, usually top-down, overhead, 3/4 isometric role-playing games. I mean, it's the Western RPGs tend to be a bit more Dungeons and Dragons than Japanese RPGs are. I think that's
And a little bit more hands on,
yeah.
and a little bit more hands on with the action. Like you have more control of what you're doing. Where JRPGs is, like you said, more turn based. Pick, strategize, and then for the most part between the two.
Currently, a lot of Western RPGs give you dialogue options, dialogue choices, so you get more choices in the way you choose for your character to play / react to the things that are happening. Usually, where Japanese RPGs tend to be more straightforward. There's a story. This is what the story is. Take as much time as you want running around beating things up, but when you get done doing that, this is where the story is going, and you don't have these. And Western RPGs tend to give you a bit more control over that.
And also, JRPGs have way more grinding, I would say, than Western RPGs.
Yes.
Usually, yes. I am not generally a fan of RPGs where they scale the enemies to whatever level you are. Like, I really enjoy going somewhere and whooping on something that whooped me like 2 hours ago. That is definitely a thing.
That feels great. I'm doing Entails now. Like, I gotta go back here and get this, and y'all treated me very badly when I first got this game. So now, guess what?
I'll be back.
Me and the squad are here now.
I'll be back to see you. All right. So one more question before we wrap this up. Does Xbox need to answer to this showcase specifically in terms of what PlayStation is doing with Marvel? Like, do they need, again, like Twitter is on flames right now. Like, Xbox needs an answer. They need to do something. And if you feel like they do, what do they need to do? Sid, I'm going to you first.
Buy another round.
I mean,
hey, get Injustice.
I mean, that'll be the one.
Get the supposed Marvel fighting game that they're doing.
Do you mean by NetherRealm, or do you mean by WB Games?
Hey, WB.
Okay. Keyline?
That would be smart. By WB Games. Yeah, I mean, they got to do something. I mean, because even with like the Xbox Series X versus the PS5, we have both. We got lucky and we bought both of them.
Awesome.
Honestly,
congratulations.
I'm still fighting for one of them.
Yeah. They're both great. They're awesome. But there's not really anything that's like, these are the best consoles in the world, and there's not anything that's like, this one is definitely better than this one.
Right.
So like, games is the only way to really compete between the two franchises. It's the only way to compete. So like, Xbox has got to do something to keep it relevant, because PlayStation's got a whole lot coming out, obviously. So it's like, gotta do something. I mean, I kind of like the idea of like WB Games, or maybe seeing some different DC stuff to compare with Marvel. That could be fun.
Yeah. Jokes, where are you?
I don't think they have to. I think Microsoft will do something just to have, but I don't think they really have to. I mean, when you look at, just for fact, if you just want to have something on your console that's got like DC characters, I mean, granted, Fortnite's on all platforms, but I mean, hey, you can get your fix of your Batmans and your Supermans and all that type of stuff right inside of Fortnite. You can take it to the next level. You can have Master Chief fighting Batman, whatever you want to do within the realm. But I don't think they have to do something. But I'm sure they.
Do you want them
to? Just like Sin said, if they did anything, it would be buying like WB games and having like the Injustice. I guess another MK versus DC. I mean, that could be
Rocksteady with WB under WB.
I mean, so Monolith is under WB, but so the trick with buying WB games is that buying WB games doesn't necessarily mean that you would get the licenses to DC's characters.
Oh yes, J.
Right?
Robert.
You would have the studios that fall under WB, which would include Rocksteady, right? Okay. And yes, they are making, Gotham Knights and
Suicide Squad. Yeah,
it would be an incredible gift for them if they bought them, but I'm pretty sure that the deals are already on the table for those going to other platforms, right? And so, I think if anything, it just would make you look like a bad guy if you bought them, and then while you obviously would get the money. The way that they've been doing things is, we'll roll out, we'll ride out whatever contract is already in place.
Yeah.
And plus with that rumor that's been, circulating for a while now that NetherRealm was potentially working on like a Marvel game.
Yeah.
Like that would be the one that you would want to snatch up, especially if they snatch them up and find out that is a legitimate thing behind it. That would be the one right there that they now have a Marvel title that they can now throw on the box and throw it in Game Pass. Like, because if you can say that, hey, look, NetherRealm was working on this Marvel game, we got it. It's going to go day one in the Game Pass.
Yeah.
That wraps it up right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think that I think after a big showcase like Sony had, and I think this was necessary for Sony because their state of plays haven't been all that great, and they didn't do anything at E3 and what have you. Like, this was necessary.
Yeah.
Just to remind people, hey, we are here to play, right? But I also think that more than anything, what we're seeing is the way that these two companies are doubling down on their efforts. Sony is still at a place where their business model says, we want to sell you PlayStation consoles. We want you to buy a PlayStation 5, and we want you to only be able to play stuff there and maybe PC in a little while, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft is not playing that same game. They are less interested in whether you buy an Xbox Series X or an S or a One, because they're like, coming this holiday, if you have Game Pass, you can stream directly to your Xbox One. So go to GameStop and buy the old box. We don't care, right?
Yep.
We just want you in our ecosystem. And right now, my personal opinion is, while all this is great, and as a person who, like, there's no way, like, I'm going to do everything in my humanly possible power to make sure that in 2023, when Spider-Man 2 comes out, it's in my hands on day one. That's a wrap. God of War as well. Mostly Spider-Man, but God of War as well.
Of course.
Having said that, there's a part of me right now that, because of the kind of reviews that Deathloop is getting, is like, I should just buy this joint. I should just buy it and play it on PlayStation and rock with it now because of that FOMO. Because of, like, whatever. Like, even though I know probably in a year it'll be on Game Pass, and I don't have to pay for it.
Yep.
Right. And that maybe there'll be a Game of the Year edition, or they'll upgrade it to 60 frames, or whatever they're gonna do to it, a year from now, right? And I can just play that version. But technically, even if I buy it now, like, I'll still be able to play that version then, right? And I think those are the kinds of things that get you thinking it just about the way that they're playing the game. And I think a lot is going to be sitting on what happens this holiday, right? So, if you're not able to get PlayStation 5s this holiday, even if you're not able to get Xbox Series X's, if you can get a Series S and a Game Pass, Microsoft's going to be just fine with that. If you get a laptop for the holiday, Microsoft is going to be like, that's cool. I don't know if y'all saw this, but today they did an update to the Xbox app on PCs. So now, you could do game streaming if you had Game Pass Ultimate by going to xbox.com/play. Now you don't have to do that. You can do it from in the app. You can open up the Xbox app, and there is a game streaming button, and you can hit it and just go and connect your controller.
Dig that.
Sweet.
Again, their strategy is to put their games everywhere you are, while Sony's strategy is to have things that compel you to purchase their box. And they are not necessarily opposite ends. I don't think we'll be able to say, like, if you say console war and who sells more consoles, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that PlayStation will sell more consoles than Microsoft. That's not a metric that Microsoft cares about anymore. So they're not going after that, because they're just like, we have this many Game Pass subscribers, and there's a compelling reason for you to put your games here so that this many people will play them, fall in love with you as a developer or as a creator or whatever, and then they'll buy your other stuff or whatever it is, which apparently seems to be working.
Yeah, but J-Robert, I can tell you,
shouldn't Microsoft be doing a new Surface device rollout soon, all of which should be optimized for including Game Pass? Yeah, so their most recent, the Surface Mini or whatever, incorporates it just fine. But again, realistically, it almost doesn't matter, because you can do it on basically any, like, if you can open your phone and open Safari on an iPhone and go to xbox.com/play. And if you have Game Pass, you can just play your games there.
And that's what get a lot of computers and a lot of laptops that you buy now, especially if you buy gaming laptops, you get Game Pass with it for like a month now. It doesn't matter what Windows platform you buy. It doesn't matter the brand of it. You typically get it for 30 days on it. If it's gaming, obviously you're going to get it, but there's some normal laptops that you can buy, not necessarily like your low end type of laptops, but mid-range and higher end ones, they just give you Game Pass for 30 days out of it. So you can get in there and give it a shot.
Which is smart for a couple of reasons. Because there are games on Game Pass PC that aren't on the console and vice versa. Right? So, look, I think more than anything, what this showed me is that they're still two companies that are doing video games, but are going in very different directions.
Way different directions.
Yeah. How they measure what's important to them and what is successful. So we'll see. I do think we're going to see some studio acquisitions. And again, there are still rumors that 2K is one of those studios.
Right. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Microsoft bought 2K, that would give them the new Marvel Midnight Suns game, technically.
As well.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
But yeah, so I think we need to wrap this up, right? Ready for bed?
Yeah.
Let's get ready to get out of here. Jokes. One more time, do your job. Doctor Who, you miss having a laptop. They got these stores, these Best Buys. You just go get one. and then you have yourself a laptop. Y'all know the drill. Jump in, hit the link tree. Follow us across all social media. We greatly appreciate it. Check out our Patreon. For just $1, you can support us. That helps us continue to do things like this and to travel and to do shows and what have you. We'll be at Baltimore Comic-Con coming up on the 22nd. So if you're there and you see us, say hi because we're nice guys. We, again, have Extra Life coming up in November. And then we have Ocean City Comic-Con second week of December. So again, keep your eyes
and possibly Anime NYC, depending on what we get back.
NYC.
Possibly,
we'll see how that turns out. That is Anime NYC is November 19th, so we'll see how that turns out. So thank you again for everybody kind of hanging out and tuning in. Key Lime, run everybody through the gauntlet. How do they find you? Where do they go? What do they do? How often do you stream? When do you do it? Let's run it down.
Sweet. Cool. So typically I stream definitely Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. This week I'm just doing Thursday night. Sometimes I do a Sunday or Monday as well, but Wednesdays and Thursdays are my nights to stream. And usually about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'll go until midnight. That's Eastern Standard Time. And right now we're doing voting on we call it my spoopy game for October, which right now Luigi's Mansion is winning, and that's not spooky, so come vote for other things. But it'll be fun, whatever. But so I've got Twitch, super fun, gaming, cosplay, all kinds of silly things happen there. TikTok, I'm doing a lot of cosplay videos. I'm doing some like nerdy merch hauls, like I'm showing off all my pops and things like that.
Awesome.
So that's fun because I buy too many things. And then my Patreon just so much stuff. It's like this Loki was $35 and I love him, but
you had to have it.
I had to have it. So my Patreon also, it starts at $10 a month and it includes behind the scenes pictures of my cosplays. I also do handwritten notes, and if you go up the higher levels, I do music videos and I do I'll send you a Disney mug and things like that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is super incredible. Again, Key Lime's link tree is in the chat. Please click that link and then click all the links that are in that link and follow along. Thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, this was great.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
Sid, if you would do your job one more time for me.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorsch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
No doubt. That's it for tonight. Next week, we will be back, same time, same place, with another guest. Awesome cosplayer Babs Butcher is joining us next week. If you're unfamiliar with Babs, get familiar with Babs. Spoke with her earlier today. She's going to hang out with us next week, so that ought to also be a very fun show. We greatly appreciate y'all hanging out with us. With that, we're out. Don't go anywhere, Keyline. Toodles and Lou.